Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So something you guys should know about me if you've been watching me for the past 2 years, you should know that I'm an athlete. My current sport of choice is track and field, but I used to play soccer, and when I was in elementary school, I used to play basketball and volleyball and a bunch of different sports. And so in this week's video, I'm going to tell you why I prefer team sports over individual sports, even though I currently am part of an individual sport. But before we get into this week's video, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday. I make anywhere from topic videos like this to pop socket videos to how to make money online videos. And with all that being said, let's get into this week's video. So one thing I noticed, and I actually noticed this in French class in the 8th grade, and I don't know why I didn't notice this because it's the same in English, but I guess since English is my first language and I don't remember learning English because I learned it like so many years ago, I don't remember the process of learning English, I didn't notice this. There are some sports that you do and some sports that you play. So the reason why I figured this out in French class is because for certain sports, when we were doing a sports unit, you would say faire, which means to do. And then for other sports, you would say jouer, which means to play. And I was so confused. I'm like, how come for some sports it's faire and some sports it's jouer? And my teacher was saying, think about it in English. You don't play wrestling. You don't play track and field. You do wrestling. You do track and field. And so another thing that I noticed is that these sports that you do tend to pertain to individual sports. You do swimming. You do track. You do wrestling. Meanwhile, you play soccer, you play basketball, you play hockey, you play football. So I don't know if there's like a correlation. I don't know if that was meant to happen, but that's what it is. What I've noticed, individual sports you do and team sports you play. So one thing I've noticed over the years is that you play some sports because they're a game, and you do other sports because they're not a game. For example, you go to a hockey game, you go to a football game, but you go to a track meet, you go to a swim meet, you go to a wrestling match. And so the reason why I prefer team sports over individual sports is because I personally think they're more fun. And I think that the reason they're more fun is because they're literally a game. You play them. You play games for fun. And I'm not saying that I dislike track. If I didn't like track, I wouldn't be doing it right now. But I wouldn't necessarily call it fun. And I feel like the reason why team sports are more fun and why they're a game is because you have an object to interact with. In soccer, you have a ball. In hockey, you have a puck. You're interacting with another object. Meanwhile, with individual sports, it's just you and your body. In swimming, it's you and your body. In running, it's you and your body. In wrestling, it's you and your body. There's no object. There's nothing to play with. There's nothing there. You're not playing with anything. It's just your body. And another thing that I love about team sports is that it's a team. You win together, you lose together. If you win, you have people to celebrate with. If you lose, you have people to be sad with. Meanwhile, even though, like, I'll use track as an example, you're on a track team. You train with other people. You're not training by yourself. But in reality, when you go to a meet, you're competing against your teammates. If you're playing a soccer game, you're playing with your teammates. You're competing against the other team. When you play an individual sport, you're competing against your own team. And so one thing I've noticed is, let's say I won, and which means my teammate lost because there can't be two winners, right? So your whole team sits together, whether it's they sit together in the bleachers or they sit together under their tent, everyone sits together. So one thing with individual sports that I've felt personally is when you win, you can't really celebrate because one of the people who you beat is sitting right next to you. Meanwhile, on a team sport, you're not hanging out with the loser after. You and your team might go out to dinner or whatever, but all of the winners are going out together, so you can celebrate as much as you want. You don't have to worry about making someone else feel bad because the person who lost isn't right next to you. But when you play an individual sport, at least for me, I don't want to celebrate in front of people in fear of making them feel bad, but then in turn, I don't even get to celebrate my own win. So yeah, these are just my thoughts on sports. Even though I'm part of an individual sport, I do love team sports. I played soccer from the ages of 7 to 12, and then I've been doing track since I was 13. And I miss my soccer days. I miss celebrating with my team after. I miss the team atmosphere. And that's why with track, my favorite event is relay, because it's a team. You win together, you lose together. You're not competing against your friends. You're competing with them, and I love that. So anyways, that's all for this week's video. Maybe give you something to think about. Maybe you never thought about sports in that way, because I didn't think about it until I started learning a foreign language. But yeah, that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video.